Okay, we're on.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Whatcom County Fire District 4 Board of Fire Commissioners to get to order at 12 p.m. exactly on March 11th, 2021. Um, I think we'll go ahead and start out with a roll call real quickly. And Chris, why don't we start with you?
Chris Parks,
Harry Andrews,
And Dave Hanson.
And Jason Vanderbeek.
Very good. All right, everybody. We don't have a huge agenda today, but we do have some things to talk about. And we also do have an executive session scheduled towards the end. And that is um, to discuss what do we just say personnel matters, but it'll be to discuss our new candidates for the open commissioner spot. That's really important that we get that filled. And I'm glad to see that we had three very viable candidates step forward and gave us something to look at for sure. So we'll come back to that in executive session. And then, so why don't we go ahead? Is there anything, did anybody see anything they wanted to add to the agenda today?
not for me.
Okay, Chief.
No, sir.
All right, you'll find a slot to slide whatever you want in, so that's good. All right, well, let's go ahead and we've got the motion to do the approval of our consent agenda. Again, I think it's important just for the viewers and anybody that may watch this is, again, we are meeting via Zoom due to the Governor Inslee's proclamation, um, which prohibits us from meeting together in a big open room right now. So I'm not going to read it verbatim, but that's what we're doing. With that said, we have our consent agenda, and on our consent agenda would be our meeting minutes from our last meeting from February 11th, 2021, regular board meeting. We have staff reports that we've already were able to review, financial reports, vouchers, District 4 direct deposit payroll, which I will state was $6,189.33. District 4 expenditures for last month, there were vouchers in the total of $10,290.75 or 75 cents. On that note, do we have a motion to go ahead and approve consent agenda as submitted?
So moved.
And I'll second that. Any discussion? With none, I will go ahead and motion carries and consent agenda is approved. All right, we have some unfinished business, which we'll probably have some unfinished business for a while while we're working on the RFA. I'm going to let the chief talk on the RFA process, but I do want to just really put a big thank you out to all that participated in the RFA meeting. I believe was that 2 days ago now, gang. And that was a 2-hour meeting, and we used every bit of that 2 hours. Really, some special recognition goes out to Bill Cushman and Karen Reed, and also Heather. And I don't think I got Heather's last name.
Heather Logan.
Heather Logan, very sharp lady. Each one of those individuals are definitely specialists in their field, and we're pretty fortunate to have them on board. I was a little leery, when you look at what you pay these consultants, but I think they're worth every cent that we're paying them. And we definitely had some real eye openers in that meeting. Um, it was probably one of the most enlightening realities that I've faced in my many years in the fire service in Whatcom County, with 12 years as a commissioner in the past, and then the last year here, to really dissect those numbers and see what it really costs to run this fire district. It's so easy, and I was guilty of this at the beginning when I walked in the door here. It's so easy to sit back and go, well, we can do this for less. We can run this. We can do these things. But there's so many things you forget to look at. One of those being that almost all of our rigs are pretty old, in sense, and we make them work, but we're building a 7-year plan on that for the starters. I believe I'm correct on that, aren't we, Jason? 7-year outlook and what it takes, and it's going to be a tough It's a tough haul, but I don't see any other way but that we need to pass this RFA for the best interest of our community and our citizens of both our districts. And really, we all sat back and trying to be, or the boards have sat back, trying to be as diligent and thrifty as we could be over the years, but that may be coming out to haunt us a little bit now. And because we're going to have to go for a larger amount of money, but I do not believe 1 cent of it is fluff. I wish we could find fluff in there to cut, but there's not much in there. So on that note, Chief, do you want to expand on or Harry, would you like to talk first on your thoughts on the meeting, and then maybe
No,
we go?
I agree with you on that. That was an excellent meeting. It was a little long, but I think we got a lot of our information under our belt now.
Yeah, it definitely it was enlightening. So, Chief Enderby.
Yeah, I think the last two meetings have been really good. A lot of prep work has gone into that. For that, I think Karen and Heather both, Bill Cushman, like you said, Commissioner Hanson. But yeah, I think we're just realizing kind of the growing pains of moving from rural, sleepy Whatcom County to really an urban area. We're now the suburban area that surrounds the Bellingham, and it that Bellingham's growth has severely impacted District 4 over the last 20 years. They have annexed all of your business and industrial areas. And I understand that's how things work, but it really has left District 4 kind of high and dry. And I'm not sure how much coordination or planning was done with the fire district in the past as far as what the district's plan was for going forward, to provide a level of service. It's luckily we have auto aid agreements, and we have great forward-thinking commissioners and electeds that are okay with auto aid. But to think of what it would be like if there wasn't those agreements in place, you would literally stand on one side of the street and have one level of service and have something completely different and nowhere near as good on the north or the east side of the street, right? If you were in District 4 compared to being in the city of Bellingham. And I think, I think it's great that the commissioners and the staff are willing to go through the hard work of doing this RFA study. And yeah, we're going to roll out a lot of information to our taxpayers, and we may not like some of it, but it's sometimes we got to hear stuff we don't want to hear. And I just think we need to make a commitment to our taxpayers when we go to them, is that we will never let this thing go as long as we have in the past. And that's really, nobody who's sitting here, it's not anybody's fault. It just happened. And we just need to remember we're turning into a Snohomish County, whether people want us to or not. And the stories we hear out of Snohomish County, or what we're hearing out of Snohomish County, is that these districts are going to their voters every couple of years to raise the lid. So it's a lower raise, but keeping it at a little bit, maybe not the top tax rate, but we're keeping it up there so that things can stay fully funded and we don't get behind. But yeah, this has been very eye-opening for me. Obviously, as a new chief, this has been a very steep learning curve.
Yeah.
But I'm super thankful for both boards being on board and giving me a little grace and patience to learn how this all works. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting those, having the discussion about final numbers. And then I reached out to Lund Fawcett, which is a PR group in Seattle. And then I'll also be reaching out to someone named Liz Loomis, who does PR for governmental rollouts, of ballot measures and stuff like that. And so we'll be starting to, once the electeds come up with the number, then we'll work with someone to how do we best get that number out. I have been in contact with the local, and they've offered their assistance, both physical and financial, in getting the word out about the RFA. This is where we have to be careful, because we can we can inform, but we can't advocate, right? So this is where we have to kind of have faith in our partners or our supporters to do some work for us. But yeah, I think it's going to be a hard road, but I think we'll be successful in the end.
I would, I really appreciate the comments you made, and they're so straightforward that there's just the only way that we're going to be able to do this is do this together as a team. And Ken Cunningham is, that guy's amazing. He manages to make our meetings, and runs out the door for an alarm, and as soon as he gets back, he's back on in the meeting. But as I think that the local 106 really picked a really, selected a good person to represent them. I just in my meetings with Ken, started at an interesting time when he just came on board, and his willingness to work together with us and the whole labor group. It's going to take every single one of us and our commitment. Another recommendation I think I'll make to the county fire commissioners is maybe for those guys for the group to bring up bring Bill Cushman up and have him do a presentation similar to what he did. Because there was so much I didn't really grasp until he showed you and hits you right in the face with the numbers. And, all of a sudden you start to think, well, we just took this one position out. Well, what does one position really change? Or we just kept a rig for a year longer. You're going to pay now or pay later is the way I look at it. So we might as well do it now. All right, really good. Anybody else on the RFA planning process? Chris, I want to apologize. I didn't catch in the presentation that Bill put together somehow your salary and your position and you were not intentionally left off of there. I did my diligence on that, and we're going to be much more careful on that. So you're still with us. Don't think you're going anywhere.
As soon as I was made aware of it, I contacted Bill Cushman. I got an email back from him. I'm happy to forward it to you, to both.
Yeah,
Chris, if you like, but yeah, it was just complete. You're on the org chart, but it didn't make it to the strategic outlay plan, to that tab, and so it's in there now.
So one question I have, he listed, I believe, 5 commissioners. Is that correct, or shouldn't it be 8 at the beginning, or?
Well, it'll be 8. It'll be 8 at the beginning.
Yeah, I saw only 5, so I'm not sure.
Right, for the first, I'll point that out to him. For the first 2 years, it should be 8.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah, and then we'll slowly drop down. Good more manageable group. All right. Anything else on the presentation, Randy? Harry, did you have anything else?
No, I said.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. My new hearing aids didn't catch that. All right, an amendment to the interlocal agreement to the fire and emergency medical services with North Whatcom Fire and Rescue. Chief, I mean, we have an agreement in place right now.
Yep.
It just hasn't been a high priority with everything else going on. I think we're working together well, and it really would become a moot issue if the RFA goes through, which we're really counting on that happening. Chief, anything else you want to say on that?
No, just a sinking feeling that I was supposed to follow up on something I didn't follow up on.
Well, I forgot what that was. So,
Chris, remind me. I had last sent that to Richard Davis for review. Correct?
Yep. Okay.
All right. I apologize. That's my mistake. I will.
No worries. Right. No worries. I really feel much more comfortable now that we seem to have such good communication, and I credit you, Chief, for a lot of that, and also Commissioner Ansel for the openness. He's right there for if I call him on his phone, and if he needs to call me, he does. And just by that type of communication, the trust has also came together pretty well. And so I don't think anybody's pushing you to
no, but I need to follow. I need to hammer that out. So
Okay. What about under new business? We have the interlocal agreement between the City of Bellingham and Fire District 4 concerning the use of the Britton Loop training facility. I'll just say this: we were doing interviews yesterday, and it was really a great day. Harry, I don't know if you caught that too. We had the training room full of the paramedic class going on. We had the fire grounds going with the academy, and we had things happening throughout that building, and that was beautiful to see how that worked. And so we're definitely it's in place, it's working. I think we just need to secure that agreement, so there's no hard feelings, or maybe we have already, I'm not sure.
It should be, Kristen, and I'll forward the final copy to you for addition to this packet.
Well, I got the first copy, and then I emailed you back regarding some items that need to be looked at.
Oh,
and
okay.
probably need some changes. There were, I think, 2 items, and I haven't heard back yet, so I don't know if.
Okay, I think I made those corrections and never sent it back. I'm sorry. I have RFA brain right now.
You guys will handle that then, and we'll address that.
You'll have a final copy for signature next meeting. My apologies.
We know you're busy, and it's not a big rush. It's just we just probably need to, for our diligence, probably get it done.
Yep.
Really, that's good. All right. I don't really have anything else under new business, with exception of we had well, no, wait, I think I did have something we were going to discuss. We just wanted to, just for the record, we were talking in our meeting, in the RFA meeting, about, dealing the cost, and pretty much we've agreed, we're splitting the RFA, the cost to run that. The one area that we might want to just for the record is, we were looking at I didn't realize it, but it's about a 76, 23, 24% difference in voters within North Walking. You guys are roughly at, I think it was like somewhere around 25,000 plus registered voters, and we're at 7,061. Understanding we're going to need everybody to get on board behind this, and how we spend the money. It seems like we had some money set aside for some of this already, if I heard correctly.
Yes.
So I don't know, Harry, did you want to comment on any of that? We're just looking at we understand the 50 splitting at 50
right.
for the illegals, and the consultants, all of that, because that benefits everybody. We're just looking, we get into like the mailers and things like that. But I don't think we're saying we want to get into any holdups or anything over that. We just needed to acknowledge it, that the benefits, I think we understand the overall benefit of passing this. Harry's probably got better words than I do. So
not really, but I agree with you on that, and I think it's very obvious and should be noted. However, we have to be careful that we don't start an argument about that, and
that's right.
Are working together like we are.
I think my hope is that we will pay for the message, but the cost of the physical outreach, I'm hoping that will mostly be borne by supporters of the RFA, as opposed, because we can't do that. We can send out a mailer that says, hey, look, this is on the ballot, and this is why it's needed, but anything to support it, we can't pay for. And I believe we've secured funding from supporters to pay for that. So hopefully neither one of us would see a cost from that. But I see that I see the wisdom in, figuring out, we've got 22,000 voters, you guys have 7. Is there a split for, do we look at a per piece mailer type stuff?
And I again, Harry said it well. It's not a breaking point or anything like that. We really appreciate, both of us, I believe, and even Chris as well, the relationship that we all have working on this and the time you put in. but to do our being responsible, we at least need to note it that we recognize it, but we also recognize that is a very large voting group out there. We're going to need to have those people very informed as well. So it's going to take all of us to continue to do exactly what we're doing, working together as a team. So
I think that the fact that we're just having this conversation out in the open shows how far we've come, and
oh yes,
that we will absolutely. I will I'll work, whether it's working with both full boards or working with the chairs, advocate for both of my departments. I guess you'd look at it for that yeah, it would be a fair split, and that we would make sure that wasn't overburdened by a smaller entity.
right.
So
well, I will say this, and Harry and I really didn't get a chance. Well, we couldn't get together and talk after the interview. As a matter of fact, Harry was gone and exited the building by the time I was done with my last interview. But each one of the candidates, I let them clearly know, because it's a small world, and you don't know what people have heard. But we might have started out a little rough, and as I came in as a new commissioner, and there was several things happened, but I let all of them know, because it was two out of the three asked that question. What is our relationship like with with District 21? And I summed it up clearly this way. I think it's a very good relationship now. The communication is much better. We communicate. It's a two-way street, and I sure didn't put that on either side. It was just we both came together, and matter of fact, I shared that Commissioner Ansel's willingness as the board chair out at District 21, and that you, Chief, and myself have been trying to get together, whether it's once a month or a couple times a month. It just depends on what we need to do outside of all the meetings where we're just three of us sitting down. And I think that has really enlightened all of us. And I would say we're a team.
Yep.
And that's important. So I just wanted them to be rest assured they're not walking into a hornet's nest with with a bunch of draw the line in the sands. We do all have some of our hopes in there, and some areas that we want to see happen, and we'll work through those together, and that's good.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? I'm going to go ahead, and we can all, if everybody wants to go into, but we need to go into an executive session to discuss our the three candidates, and then Harry and I are planning to make a decision today. We feel it's important we get that position up and going. And so when you're ready, Chief, if you wanted to stay with us, we're not going to be, I would say we're going to probably be less than, about 10 minutes. Harry, do you think we need any more time than that?
No, I don't think we need more than that.
Okay, we'll just set it at 10. It's 12:23. We'll just be back in